There is a specific day already scheduled when the last person who remembers you will die. No one knows what day it is, but it exists. And the moment it arrives, you will be gone. Not just from the world, from every mind that ever held you. Your voice, your laugh, the specific way you looked out of a window when you thought no one was watching. All of it erased. But here's what no one tells you about that day. It already happened to someone you know. Historians call it the second death. The first death is biological. The body stops, the brain goes dark. That part we understand. The second death is different. It's quieter. It happens in slow motion over years, sometimes decades, until the very last person who carried your memory closes their eyes for the final time. And then you simply stop existing. Not in the physical sense, in the human sense, in the only sense that ever really mattered. There's a word in some cultures, damnatio memoriae. It's Latin. It means condemnation of memory. The ancient Romans used it as a punishment more feared than execution. They would chisel a person's face off monuments, burn their records, forbid their name from being spoken, because they understood something we've tried to forget. Death is not the end. Being forgotten is. But here's where it gets strange. Think about everyone you've ever known. Your childhood best friend, the teacher who changed your life, your grandparents, people who shaped you so completely that without them, you would be a different person entirely. Now ask yourself, how many of their stories do you actually know? Not the surface, not the name and the job and the two facts you repeat at funerals. The real stories. The ones that haunted them at 3 a.m., the mistakes they buried, the version of themselves they only showed in private. For most people in your life, you don't know. You never asked. And now you can't. And here's the part that should unsettle you. The same is happening to you. Right now, in real time, the people around you are holding an incomplete version of you. A thumbnail, a highlight reel, a character named after you but written by someone else. And when they're gone, that thumbnail is all that's left. But that wasn't the worst part. There was a study, and you won't hear about it in school. Researchers traced how long ordinary people remain remembered after death. Not famous people, not kings or generals, regular people. People like you. The average? 3 generations. Your children remember you vividly. Your grandchildren remember you faintly. Your great-grandchildren know your name. Maybe a single story, maybe a photograph. After that, nothing. You become a stranger. A face in a box in an attic no one opens anymore. 3 generations. That's roughly 75 to 100 years. After spending an entire lifetime becoming you a century later, you're a mystery. But this is where it gets philosophically dangerous. Because if being remembered is what gives a life meaning, then what does that say about the lives of the billions who came before us? People who loved, who suffered, who stayed up at night terrified of exactly this realization? Were those lives meaningless? Or does something else survive? This is where everything changed. There's a concept in quantum physics, loosely interpreted, dangerously poetic, that energy cannot be destroyed. It only transforms. But forget physics for a moment. Think about the way a stranger's kindness once, years ago, made you kinder to someone else. How a song your mother loved now lives somewhere in your nervous system. How someone who died before you were born shaped the values of a person who shaped you. Memory isn't just stored in minds. It's encoded in behavior. Every choice you make, how you speak to people, how you treat strangers, how you love, is a ripple from people who no longer exist. People whose names you don't know, whose faces are gone. And this is the part almost nobody talks about. You are already carrying the dead. Right now, in your habits, in your language, in the particular way you laugh too loud when you're nervous, because someone who raised you did the same thing. You are a living archive of the forgotten, and yet, you're still terrified of being forgotten yourself. Why? Here's the uncomfortable truth at the center of all of this. The fear of being forgotten isn't really about death. It's about significance. It's the fear that your existence didn't matter, that you were here and the universe didn't notice, that you laughed and loved and bled and woke up 1,000 times in the dark and none of it left a dent. That's the real terror. And here's what modern psychology has quietly confirmed. The people most afraid of being forgotten are usually the people who feel most unseen while they're still alive. We build legacies as a consolation for not feeling enough right now. We chase fame as an antidote to the invisibility we feel in our own homes. We perform our lives for an audience that's half not watching and half performing back at us. And underneath all of it, a question we never quite ask out loud: was I real? Did it count? Was I here actually, or was I just passing through? There's something the digital age promised us: permanence. A photograph for every moment, a post for every feeling, an archive that would outlast stone, outlast memory, outlast everyone who ever knew you. And for a moment, we believed it. But here's what no one warned us about: platforms die, servers get shut down, file formats become unreadable. The photo you uploaded in 2009 already doesn't load on half the devices that will exist in 2045. The digital afterlife was always an illusion. And maybe that was the cruelest trick of all. Because we stopped building real connections while we were busy documenting fake ones. We traded being known for being seen. And those two things are not the same. Being seen is someone watching. Being known is someone staying. So what do you do with this? You could spiral. A lot of people do. Or you could do something harder. You could decide that the answer to being forgotten isn't fame. It isn't legacy. It isn't leaving behind content or monuments or a carefully curated memory of yourself. The answer is simpler and older and almost embarrassingly human. You show up. You show up for the people who are still here. You learn their stories before the stories disappear. You let yourself be known, not performed, not curated known, ugly and complicated and real. Because the people who survive longest in human memory, not in textbooks, but in the actual living tissue of other people's lives, they aren't the ones who are loudest. They're the ones who made someone feel less alone. That's it. That's the whole legacy. That's what survives the second death. A feeling, passed from person to person like a flame that never touches the same wick twice. You will be forgotten. So will I. So will everyone alive right now. But something you did today, something you said, the way you looked at someone like they mattered, might quietly change the life of a person who changes, the life of a person who changes the world. You'll never know. You'll never get the credit. And that might be exactly the point.